You're listening to the Dibbly-Dobbly podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. T20 Cricket. Let's talk about that. What do you like about T20 Cricket, Gabe? What do you like about it? Short, sharp, quick nature of it?
Oh man, it's while my favorite format is Test. I think that the Super Over and not just the Super, the death in you can miss the whole match. It doesn't matter. Get me to the death. Give me the death in any T20 match, and whether you're talking about the IPL, the BBL, the 100, and that's some exciting television right there. That's some exciting. You're on the edge of your seat. You know what I mean? Unless it's a blowout match, but for the most part, you know what I mean. Like I've seen unbelievable. Oh, and unfortunately, it's happened at the expense of my teams many a times. Whether it was CSK, getting pumped for 50 runs in the death, or Ngidi, and Giddy getting pumped by Pollard. Dude, I still couldn't believe that, dude. It was like he was feeding us. It's just brutal. And I think that it's a more exciting version of the game. A lot of Americans that do follow cricket follow T20. Obviously, USA. I love USA T20 cricket. But even John Boy was talking about. And John Boy's a very big media personality here. He does a lot of baseball, a few other sports or whatever. But he's watching cricket, and he's actually done a few IPL matches. He says T20 cricket fixes everything that's bad about baseball. There's no dead time because there's no foul balls. Every ball in play matters. Every delivery, every ball bowled matters. Because in baseball, there's just pitches that don't matter. They're just throwaway pitches or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Well, if you bowl a wide, it's gonna hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Or a no ball, free hit.
A no ball is gonna hurt you. Every single delivery matters, man. And I do. I've grown to really enjoy T20 cricket. Some of my favorite matches I've watched at IPL have been crazy, bro. The World Cup was even though West Indies got hammered.
That bit of a fanboy moment here, Gabe. That
Oh,
semi-final that
yeah.
you live streamed with Australia and
Oh,
Pakistan. I
that
was
was
like, calm
insane.
down.
That was
Matthew Wade's
insane.
got it here. He's got it. Calm down.
Bro, I thought it was done. I was like, no. And because I root for Australia as well. And once the West Indies was done, I'm like, come on, Australia, get in there. And I was freaking out. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's compelling television. It's exciting. And I mean, that's it. That's what I love about it. I don't know what else to say. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
I think that because you get an opportunity to see more nations play in international T20 cricket, right, where you'll have Oman, you'll have these other countries that we hadn't seen until we got to that T20 World Cup, and you had the preliminary and qualifying matches. We're like, who? Oman? Who? Papua New Guinea? Who? Oh,
Yep.
and wow,
Namibia.
discovering new players. Namibia, these guys can play. Who's that giant from Namibia? The tall dude, man. He's massive.
I know who you're talking about. I can't
You
remember his
discover
name.
guys. Visa, right? It was Visa.
Oh, David Visa. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
David Visa was a monster. The guy was we call him Gigantor. The guy was huge. Like watching him was so much fun. So I think that is also the thing I like about T20 cricket, where you get to see players from different nations that aren't necessarily the big, 3 or 4, or even just your top 12 playing test nations.
Yeah. Sports breakdown. Let's got a question here. Oh, he says, my favorite format's test as well, but T20 cricket can be thrilling, especially when the matches get close. Plus, there's a chance for many teams to qualify for the T20 World Cup. There are more opportunities. Yes, they are. And I think the ICC are going to expand the T20 World Cup going forward as well. So there'll be more teams. I think 20 plus teams, in the future. So that's good for the game. Another question here from Dr. Jihan. Actually, he says, guys, thoughts regarding T20 league contracts, Chris Lynn and David Warner, etc. Is this the end of international cricket? Is cricket only be about T20 from now on? And does T20 internationals have any relevance? Your thoughts on that, Gabe? What he means by Chris Lynn and David Warner is that they're probably not going to play in the Big Bash this summer. They're probably going to play in that UAE T20 League that's happening
Right.
at the same time in January. So a bit of
Right.
background on that. So your thoughts on what Jihan had to say there?
What's up, Jihan? Thanks for the question. Listen, I'm telling you guys, I'm not sure if it's the end of international T20 because the fact that these guys will still get sharp and be able to play for their home country on the T20 side will help, right? Because there's going to be downtime between the IPL, between the BBL, between the 100, between the Sri Lankan League and the CPL. But I think it does not. It's not good for ODIs. It's just not good for ODIs. And again, you follow the money, man. You follow the money. Some of these contracts given away, not just in the IPL, but even in the BBL. Not, none of that. Was it the or was it the? Was I looking at not the BBL? Maybe it was 100. Somebody got some ridiculous money to go play. I think it was. I don't remember if it was the 100 or the BBL. I can't remember. I was like, holy cow, really? I thought only the IPL was giving away that kind of money. But I think that it's tempting for players to go for a shorter season and make themselves, a couple $100,000, $400,000, $500,000, something like that. In the IPL, you've got your $1 million, $2 million contracts that are given out. Patty Cummings made $2 million in what was it, four? It's not even 3 months. It's like 8, 9 weeks. $2 million? Come on now. And with that kind of incentive, I can't see players turning down the opportunity to earn that kind of cash.
Yeah, it's too tempting, really, when there's money concern. Yeah, and especially if Chris Lynn has gone to that UAE T20 league that's starting up in January because he got released from the Brisbane Heat, actually, for this BBL season. And David Warner, he was offered a lot of money from Cricket Australia to play in the Big Bash because they don't want, because it looks bad, really, at the end of the day, if that happens. You don't want that to happen, really.
Right.
And Jihan says, for me, significance in international cricket lies in Test cricket and ODI cricket, not T20 internationals. Yep, I think most people would agree with that because T20 cricket has a love-hate relationship with many people. They say, oh, it's a waste of time and all this stuff as well. And also, Powan from the Sports Breakdown says about Trent Bolt. Also, what do you think about Trent Bolt not renewing his central contract with New Zealand in order to focus more on his family and future life? Do you think many players will follow Bolt? So basically, Trent Bolt decided to step back from international cricket and make himself available to play for New Zealand, but not touring as much, spending more time with his family and probably playing T20 leagues around the world as well. So your thoughts on that, Gabe? Because if you've got a central contract, you are available for selection all the time, whereas he's not doing it because he won't be they'll prioritize more players that have a central contract than those who don't. So he's putting his faith in the selectors if they want to choose him still. So your thoughts on Trent Bolt and making that decision? I think everyone's different in terms of their priorities.
Right. I don't knock anyone, you know what I mean, for wanting to spend time with your family. And listen, we talked about this. Mental health is serious. Being away from that, the last few years have been daunting on these players. Talking about the COVID bubbles and all this and restrictions and rules, and ultimately it helped put things into perspective for a lot of people, including players. And I'm not gonna knock him. It's too much cricket. And if he's playing, ODIs, if he's playing T20, if he's playing, Test cricket, and then he's also playing in the IPL, I believe also played in the BBO as well. Was it the BBO?
No, he hasn't played at the BBO yet.
100. I think he played in 100. I remember seeing his name there when it's, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. If you got a family, wife, kids, you know what I mean? That's a lot. And yeah, I could see it happening more and more. And that's why I'm saying that almost by de facto, you're gonna see maybe it'll be the players themselves that phase out ODI because they're gonna make the decision. All right, what's a bigger priority for me to play? Because there's just not enough time, and you're gonna say make more play, see more players make that decision like a Ben Stokes. But maybe I am just misreading the situation.
Yeah. Sports Breakdown also says, what do you think about certain countries blocking cricketers from not going to franchise cricket leagues but not approving NOCs when players aren't even having tours or even if they have a tour? That's basically like a clearance. Just say, okay, you can play in this league, whatever, like they do in IPL as well, Gabe. So what do you reckon on that? Do you think cricket boards should have that power and say, right, you're not going to the IPL or you're not going to, because you've got to prioritize international cricket over that? Or
Pay him. That's all I gotta say. Because I'm a West Indies fan, right? And yeah, I would love my West Indies to focus on tests. I would love my West Indies to focus on ODI, and but the reality is, pay them. Pay them. If you're gonna pay them what they're gonna make over in that's one thing. But if you're not, then you can't tell these athletes who have a limited shelf life. Because let's be real, you know, average athlete's career is 10 years. Period. You know what I mean? For the most part, your body holds up for about 10 years. Now, you've got the Stuart Broads of the world and Jimmy Andersons that'll play, 15, 20 years. Jimmy Anderson's what, 42? No, 42 for the love of Pete. But on average, and I heard that this was all professional sports, not just baseball, football, cricket. If you take every single professional sports, the average career is about 10 years. Now, some like the NFL is about 3 years because it's a violent sport. I'm pretty sure rugby is the same thing. You know what I mean? Those guys don't last a long time. But if you've got a limited shelf life to make money and to provide for you and your family for a very long time, then you got to take advantage of the opportunities where there are.
yeah. And the Sports Breakdown also says, thanks for the question, guys. We love answering your questions. Great to see so many people in the chat enjoying our discussion today. He also says, Sports Breakdown, also, what do you think about Virat Kohli's statement this week regarding on mental health and the way he said that people he loved also left him alone at times? He hasn't got 100 in 1,000 days. I haven't heard about that article or what he said, to be honest, but mental health is a serious issue, Gabe, as we talked about a little bit before. So what are your thoughts on that? And also, he hasn't got 100 as well. It's just ticked over 1,000 days since he got his last 100. That pressure's building on him. He's got the world of expectations on his shoulders, Virat Kohli. So your thoughts
Is
on
there?
Virat?
I'm curious. Is there 1,000? I mean, 100 watch on every player this way? I guarantee you, there's other big name players that haven't got a century in 1,000 days. But it's like, man, Virat Kohli doesn't do it, and I feel bad for him. Now, I've never been the biggest Virat Kohli fan, but the amount of hate and stress and scrutiny that this guy is put under, like, you know what I mean? Like, man, and then the whole stripping him of captaincy, and then the whole RCB thing. Well, if you really want to step down, then you should step down from RCB captaincy because that's some of the most pressure in the world. And he kind of buckled to that pressure as well. And I think he's trying to please too many people. He's listening to the noise. You can absolutely tell he is listening to the noise. He's listening to his critics. He's listening to the media, and that's not good. It's not good for any athlete. I tell you that right now. You got to be able to. You like a horse, right? You got to be like a horse at the Kentucky Derby. Just put those blinders on and focus on your race. Focus on because if you start forget about it, your head's gonna be spinning. So I hope he could get out of his head. You know, if he made a mental health statement earlier this week, and I don't know that he did, I didn't read it myself as well. I wouldn't put it past the fact that think about it. This guy wasn't there after the second match of the India Australia series. He played the first match and had to go because he had a newborn. Missed the rest of that series and then was right back, for the next series. You know what I mean? Like, how much time did he get to spend? You know what I mean? Like, yes, that wears on you. Again, the people he loved the most had to be, he was left alone at times. That dude, if that's really what he said, I almost feel those words. You know what I mean? He said that he loved people, the people he loved also left him alone at times. That's just tough, man. That's just tough.
Well,
And
he's a human
who
being.
was it? Yeah, he's a human being. I think it was, I forgot who was it that said that the wife was like, I think it was uh it was another Indian player. Said his wife said like, I can't do it. I can't do the bubble. We gotta go. We gotta go. It might have been what's that spinner's name?
Is it
It's eluding.
Ashwin? Is it or
Probably Ashwin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
yeah?
Ashwin, I think, that mentioned it. And again, yeah, these families, like, look, you're an athlete. You may be used to the isolation. You may be used to, the restriction. But now, if your families are with you, they're still going through that stuff. And yeah, I think that the last 2 years plus has definitely taken a toll on Virat Kohli, man. I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, and well, he's not playing much cricket as it is at the moment because I think India's in Zimbabwe at the moment. He's not in that series. So he's taking a break, but he needs a break, just get away from it. Hopefully he comes back rejuvenated and hopefully, is the Virat Kohli of old. But,
Yeah,
when you get towards the back end of your career, things don't quite work out as you would like, especially as a batsman with your reflexes and that and your
it's,
mental capacity. We shall see. Let's talk about you. Hi, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our cricket discussion with Gabe from Cricket for Americans on all things T20 cricket. Let us know in the comments your thoughts about T20 cricket. We would love to hear what you have to say.